Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of After the Sermon. And today we're in 1 Corinthians 10, talking about dangers of spiritual overconfidence. And we're going to shake it up a little bit how we do it. I don't like the monologue thing. So I recruited my buddy Scott. I said, we'll have a little discussion about the sermon, ask some questions, and we'll dig into it that way a little bit more, which I like a lot. So Scott, welcome into the podcast.
Well, thank you. Yeah, what I loved is how you started with Winston Churchill talking about, what was that quote?
Yeah. Those who fail to remember history are basically doomed to repeat it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
1948, he said that in front of the House of Commons. Interesting.
1948. So what was the main theme of the whole message?
Really, I think the theme of this message is, and it's verse 12, those of you who think you stand, take heed lest you fall. There's a spiritual overconfidence that comes, I think, from some people in their thinking about, Paul's still writing in this theme of Christian liberty and Christian freedoms. And what can I do that others can't do, and enforcing mine on other people and all of those things. And so he kind of takes a different twist on it this time. And he talks about of course, the spiritual blessings of the Hebrews, what the consequences of not following after God and obeying God. And he's tying that to this point. And I do think this is true. I feel it in my own life sometimes. We can become overly spiritually overconfident. I've been in Christ for a long time. I know the Bible. I read it. And we operate apart from Christ. And I think that's really the part he's saying is there's a big warning if you think you can operate apart from a daily need independence.
Yeah, and you talked a lot about how that causes temptation, right?
Right. That little end part there, no temptation is sees you come upon you except what is common to man. But God is faithful. He will provide a way out. We are tempted. I don't know. You feel it probably. I feel it. I have places in my life where I'm prone to temptation. I think the evil one is aware of our weaknesses, and mine are different than yours.
When you least expect it.
Absolutely. And he gets us. And I think we're most prone to it when we're spiritually overconfident. When I'm not leaning on the Lord and depending on him is when I become
really good point.
Have more ability to fall because I'm trying to do it on my own. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So you know who Francis Schaeffer was?
Yes, of course.
He was a pastor in theology, and he said the ignorance of the church is worse to a culture than the decadence of the world.
That's a brilliant quote, the ignorance of the church. I do think that there is ignorance in the church. I think, we've tried really hard here to be truthful about everything. We try to talk about everything. And, in the theme of 1 Corinthians, we've really hit some of these things because Paul's hitting them. We just hit what Scripture's hitting. This sexual immorality, this idolatry, even the grumbling today. I could feel it in the room where people were like, wait a minute, that might be me. And
it was pretty heavy in there. That was a great message. It hit hard.
It's a thing that we don't think that much about, my grumbling. And so I love that Paul goes back and goes, don't forget your history. Don't forget our shared history. Don't forget our Christian history. And, you and I talk about these kinds of things all the time. One of the things the church forgets is that she can't be silent and that we have to speak out and say even the hard things. Usually the rightest thing isn't the easiest thing to say. So we have to talk about the hard things. And so Paul's going right after it because he cares about people. That was a loving message to go, look, these people have set for us an example, he says. This is the example. So learn from it. And this is true all throughout the church. We've had examples of where the church has succeeded and where the church has failed. And if we don't think of them, I have my own history in my own church backgrounds of churches that when we've done well and when we failed. And I want to avoid at every cost the ones that fail, and I want to lean into the ones that have succeeded.
That's right. And you talked a lot about remembering. The Bible talks a lot about remembering.
Yes.
And so we're actually commanded to remember Jesus' teachings, what he did. And so talk about the remembering part of it. Yeah.
Well, Paul brings back these very specific things in this text from Old Testament stories. Everything from the deliverance out of Egypt. Remember, it was God who did it. And then he ties it back to they forgot about God and grumbled and complained and tested God. Don't forget it was God who fed you. And then they grumbled about the food God gave them. And he says, don't forget it was God who gave you water from the rock. Then they're grumbling about the rock. And so through this whole thing, he's like, the cost of forgetting is so steep. The cost of forgetting. He said they actually like desired evil. So imagine, that is shocking to me, because when you remember about what God has done for you, how do you not just desire more of God? How do you not desire to want to be in that place where God's blessing you again? How do you not want to desire that dependence? That's a hard thing, to leave Egypt and wander and not know where you're going. It's a hard thing to wander and not have food and not have water. That's not a fun place to be. But the marvel at God providing and remembering it, how would you then go and crave evil, right? Desire to do evil. It's when we forget.
Yeah.
God says, don't take up foreign wives. So it says it so many times in the Old Testament, don't do it. And then they do it.
Yeah.
They forget all the things. No, it'll be different for me. That's a big line for a lot of Christians. None about I can handle it in this Christian freedoms thing. And some of us can't handle it. We fooled ourselves into thinking we can do some things that aren't good for us. And we go off the guardrails. We go right past the guardrails and slip off in devastation.
Yeah, so you talked about Mondays is the hardest thing for you.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah. Mondays is hard for me because I'm out of my routine, right? It's a day off. I'm not working and engaging and spending myself in my normal thing. I'm coming off of Sunday, which is my biggest day of the week because I'm preaching and pouring out and giving to people and all that. And so I think I'm so easily tempted. Sunday afternoons, Mondays are my hardest days usually because I'm out of routine. You know, this is what happened with David and Bathsheba when he got up. Everybody's going to war and he's lounging on the top of his roof.
Out of routine is a really good point.
Out of routine is like when I just came off a vacation, right? I just came off a vacation. And on vacation had big plans going into vacation of what I was going to read and what I was going to do with the Lord. And I found it really hard to do it because I'm not sleeping in my bed. I'm waking up at a different house. I'm trying to engage with some people, and it kind of blew out what I wanted to do. Sometimes relaxation isn't the best thing for us. You know, he quotes from Exodus 32 after they created this image. They said, let's eat and drink and play. All of that was the wrong idea for them. And we live too much for eat and drink and play. We just do.
Yes.
And when we're not busy working and serving, the Bible says that we labor, that we work. That's a bad time for us. So that's why I think Mondays are hard for me, is because I'm out of routine. And the other thing is I'm coming off a spiritual high. So when you come off a spiritual high, I think the evil one's working overtime. That's why I said to all the baptism folks, you better look out. Temptation's coming your way. And I can, and if I'm being honest, I can become spiritually overconfident. Like, everything's going great. I had a great day with the Lord. I had a great day preaching. I was in the Word. And
so
how do
you stay grounded when you find yourself doing that?
Yeah, well, I have to remind myself constantly. This is a weak time for me. This can be a weak time for me. This is a weak time for me. And this is where he talks about when temptation, he makes a way of escape. One of those is knowing what's going to trigger me and then being ready for it. So I know that Sunday afternoon, Monday can be a trigger point for me. So I know I have to speak differently to Bethany than I would naturally want to. Because one of the shortcomings I can have is mishearing what she's saying to me and then being snapping sensitive. Or being overly sensitive or being impatient or whatever. And I know that's a problem. So I have to overcome it. I have to know, I have to go, when I get up first thing on Monday morning, I still got to get into the Word. And I can't let my desire to go for a run or a workout or to read a book come before that. And so those to me are the ways of escape. You can develop habits of escapes to keep you from getting to that temptation point. It's not always like a last minute, point. Where's the escape? I already looked around and know where they are, and I better go for them. See what I'm saying? Sure. And I think that's the ways that I think are most helpful to me.
Yeah, that's a good point. Developing habits is crucial.
And honestly, even saying it in church, I know people will pray for me on Mondays. Being honest about it and just saying it and identifying it. There's something interesting about going public with your stuff. This is why we need small groups. This is why we need accountability. When you tell people this is your struggle, suddenly it's not a secret anymore. It's all out in the open. I think it takes even some of that cloak of darkness away from the evil one who's like, see how you're covering it up. When everything comes out into the light and gets exposed, it's a lot better. Sorry.
Yeah. So the message was, the verse was about idols, right?
Yep.
Watching out for idolatry.
Yeah.
So what are some idols you think we find in the church that the church is blind to?
Yeah. I think one of the idols that we have in the church is comfort. I only want what makes me comfortable. I don't ever want to be made uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And I think we have another idol of love. Love is this big idol we built, that we're only loving and we're only kind and we're only accepting and we should be loving. Loving is one of the greatest things that we can be. But one of the ways we're loving is to tell the truth. Mm-hmm. And Jesus came with equal measures of grace and truth. That's what I want to be.
Yeah.
And so we get uncomfortable sometimes. I hear it from people who don't like it when we hit hard on a particular topic, or I bring in a guest speaker to hit hard on a particular topic. And suddenly people are like, wait, you're ruining my idol of like only love.
Yeah.
And only being nice. Nice never even occurs in the Bible, but I hear so many times we should be nice.
Right. That's so true.
I think we should be kind. Mm-hmm. I think we should be compassionate.
Truth,
yeah. Those are some of the idols
What
we
about
have.
Complacency?
Gosh. When things are going great is when we become most complacent and when we have to be most on the alert. And things are going great in our church right now. Mm-hmm. And so we have to do the extra work of staying on guard, staying ready. When things are hard is when I think we're least complacent because we're working.
Right.
When it gets on easy street or seems like it's on easy street, we can become complacent. And we still have to be driving in on edge. And I think even in the church, as people, I think as staff, as elders, we have to always be guarding against complacency. But I think that there's in some churches, we're trying to work hard on it in our church, but I still think this can be there's a consumer mentality.
Yeah.
It's kind of an idol in church of just I'm here to what I can get and not what I can give. And I think the most you get out of it is by giving, is the best way you get out back. It's this,
the most joy.
It's the most joyful thing. Yeah. You know about this. You're giving, but it's another hurdle I have to overcome. It's work, it's labor, it's giving. And so I have to overcome that.
That's good.
Yeah. Good.
What
These are good questions, Scott. You do a great job. I think our time is here. Thank you, Scott, for coming and asking.
My
This
pleasure.
was a great conversation. Thanks for joining us. See you back here next week on After the Sermon.